got the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Hey, good morning. How are you? I hope everybody's doing well wherever you might be here on this glorious, what is today? Hump Day. My goodness, we're sliding over the hump here today. Got a lot going on. And when we slide over the hump, obviously we get to see Tommy the Camel. There you go. A lot going on today on Hump Day. Good morning. I mean, we are just jam-packed, man. I mean, I hope this is one of the reasons you tune in on a daily basis. Kion Brown joins us coming up at 6:35. Damien Sordelett, the Virginia Tech football beat writer from the Roanoke Times. Bill Roth, the voice of Virginia Tech football. David Teel, the Hall of Famer sports writer. And Brian Steinbring, the head football coach at Roanoke College. My goodness. It's a happening scene here in our Family Fencing Studios here in Reiner. As always, hit us up on our McClellan Chiropractic chat room. You're right, Reggie. The guest lineup reads like an all-pro team. Or our professional door text line, 540-391-0788. Good morning. Hope everybody's well. And I hope, like I say, each and every day we're, hoping to make your day a little bit better. You make mine better, so that's great. Reach out and give us a yell. Hope everybody's doing okay. The trudge toward the weekend is on. Good news, as we told you, it was just a matter of, the vote yesterday, and it went 13-1. Virginia Tech's budget approved by the board, the board that actually drew up the numbers once they got proposed. So great news for Tech. All the money that was asked for basically going to be contributed to athletics. And now Tech's going to go from the bottom tier of budget and money and funding to up near the top level. It's great timing for all that. So that's awesome. Good morning, Tony. How you doing, TP? Good to see you, brother. So that's great. Great news for Tech. And I think it feels like things are going to change around over there, and it won't take a long period of time. Feels like it's going to happen. Or at least the effort's going to be made. You have to have people in place that's going to make it work, coaches and so forth, evaluation of players, but the money is not going to be an issue. So congratulations to everyone over there. Hey, Jim, good morning, brother. Yeah, the BOV delivered the plan, man. So now that excuse is off the table, and it's great news that you don't have to worry about that, at least for now in the interim. The next big worry for Tech's going to be when the last stage of conference realignment happens before the TV deals. And maybe by then things will change in terms of where their football program sits, and things can change very quickly. So, but that was great news, and we've been telling you it was just a matter of it happening. And we'll talk about that with Damien coming up here in just a little bit, and with Roth and Teel. But great news. Great news, along with the football team changing around a little bit. It was interesting, some of the comments from the players yesterday in the presser, but rock bottom was hit when Brent Pry was fired. There was a lot of doubt, and now they were just praising Philip Montgomery. And this, I've been a little facetious, and it's been fun, the back and forth I've gotten from people on the Facebook post that's now reached over 35,000 people. It just blows my mind. When I just posted the result of the game on Saturday night, and I said, hey, just end the committee search. Don't even worry about it. And a lot of people push back. But to hear those players talk about Philip Montgomery and the reverence of it, I'm telling you, he's won that clubhouse over. And it's no small feat. It's very, very impressive. It really is. Good morning, Rodney. How are you? Prometheus, if Witt's not going to be held accountable, I and many other fans aren't happy. Yeah, well, I think all that's going to take care of itself, Prometheus. I do. Because I think everybody I talk to doesn't understand the plan if he remains in place, and it doesn't have anything to do with football. It just feels like that's something that was – I think yesterday sets the stage for the next step in what they do with the AD position. I think all this was timed out and planned ahead of time. Will Stewart came on from Tech Sideline and said as such. And we'll get an update from him and Andy tomorrow about all that. But it felt like they had to get through yesterday. Right? Yeah, I know retirement's not being held accountable. But if it's retirement, there's retirement or resigning, and then there's getting fired. So we don't know all the details, and we probably never will because of the personal relationship between President Sands and Witt. But no, there aren't any fans happy, and I haven't heard not one person who supports Tech Athletics thinks it's a good idea that he remains in some other capacity. So we'll see what they do going forward. This is a great step with the money. I still don't like the whole GM being in play before the coach. That might take care of itself. Hearing those players yesterday makes me feel even better about what I said about letting Philip Montgomery be the permanent head coach. And I don't know what the win-loss record is going to be. Look, you might come up here on Saturday after a big win, and then they regress back to what they look like against Old Dominion. But I don't. And people were saying that you're basing this on one game. And I understand, and Tech fan, I understand completely. You don't have any long-term faith that things are going to remain because you've been burned so many times over the last 8 years. I get that. But I don't think that's going to happen because you can just see the team is coached better. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to diss Coach Pry. But you can just see things are more organized. You can see things are better. Just watching that game and simple things like in and out of the huddle and guys looking just more relaxed in their roles. And Philip Montgomery was a head coach, and people are like, well, he didn't have a lot of success. He was at Tulsa. He got them to bowls. He did fine considering it was Tulsa, who had no resources at the time. They beat up on Tech in a bowl game, didn't they? So people want the next best thing, and you don't even know what the next best thing is, and that's my whole point. None of those people that were saying, oh, this is a ridiculous idea that you bring up, none of those people they don't have any suggestions about who they want. And here's what I say to all the people that want to completely shoot down Philip Montgomery. Who you going to get? Give me a name. Give me somebody you think would take this job that's either not out of work now, just sitting around because he's getting the itch to come back. Do you want that? Do you want somebody who used to coach who's not coaching because they're getting bored to look at Tech as a solution to their boredom? I wouldn't. If I were a Tech supporter, I wouldn't. Do you want somebody who's been fired somewhere else because they weren't successful and you want that to come into Blacksburg? I wouldn't. And do you think somebody under contract at a Power 4 school is actually going to leave that school and come into this situation? Who's it going to be? That's what I would like to ask those people. They were so adamant about saying I was ridiculous, and that's fine. I have no problem with being told I'm ridiculous. It won't be the first time, and it won't be the last time. Won't be the last time somebody questions me on my opinion about something. That's fine. But who you want? Who's it going to be? Who do you think could come in here and take over and accept the fact that the GM's going to be in place? Tell me. Give me names. And I don't mean you, people watching the show. I'm just talking about all those people that, that's just stupid. Okay. Did you listen to the players yesterday? Did you see the looks on their faces? They would run through a wall for that guy. That means a lot to me. And if you're a Tech fan, when have you seen that? When's the last time you've seen that? You didn't see it under the last few years of Justin Fuente, and I don't think you ever saw it when Brent Pry was the head coach. He's changing the culture within this team. I don't mean overall. It's too soon to say, and that's a ridiculous notion to say that, hey, he's changed the culture. No, not in the entirety of the program. But we do have two things going on. We have him having this team completely say, you know what, we're not just going to fade away into oblivion. And now you have this money that is secure, that's there, that will no longer be an issue. That is changing the overall culture. Let's put it this way. That has the potential to change the overall culture. It has to be distributed correctly. You have to have people in place who know what they're doing. They're making a lot of money. Tech has not found that chemistry regarding the football program. Whit Babcock did not succeed as an athletic director with Virginia Tech football. That's a fact. That's not speculation. That's not me criticizing him. I don't know him. He failed. And that's the program that you have to have elevated, just like at all these other places. Things were allowed to slide. Things were allowed to just kind of segue out of Coach Beamer into, I don't know what it was under Justin Fuente once Coach Beamer's players left. I just don't understand how it all got accepted so easily by that group. And I don't know if it's because they were just making money. I don't know if it's because they didn't understand the enormity of it. You don't come into a place like Blacksburg, and maybe that's the problem. People were brought in like Whit, an outsider, like Justin Fuente, who really didn't grasp how important Virginia Tech football was to this entire region. And it's the same way in all these other places. You think about the SEC, for the most part, all those just major mega college football brands, now they've developed into bigger cities, are in small places. And the football program has built cities and towns and industries, and that's what happened here. The impact of Frank Beamer will never properly be measured. It's enormous what he was able to do for not only Virginia Tech, but everyone here. So you have to make sure when you go to the next era that you don't lose sight of that, and I believe that's what happened over there. And I don't know how the season's going to go. That's fair. The people who were criticizing, no, I can't tell you they're going to come out and look like they did on Saturday night against Wake, coming back home. You have a good vibe for it. Point spread keeps going up. Wake's first road game, there's a lot of factors. It's going to be a sellout. The crowd's going to be full throat. They could lay an egg. Absolutely. 100% they could. I don't think they will, but we'll see. But you have to like what you see. It's okay to grab onto positive things. It's, we get inundated with negativity, and that's what life's about. I understand. And for the last 8+ years at Tech football, if you're a booster, fan, season ticket holder, whatever you might be, you've just kind of you're just kind of doing this. Ugh. I get it. But, boy, good news yesterday. Great news. It's good news that a guy like Philip Montgomery was named the coach, the interim coach. It's great news to see players coming out yesterday so adamantly speaking about what has changed. It's awesome. That's what you want. So now, and I still get questions every day on our professional door text line, who you want to be the next head coach? I want Philip Montgomery to be the next head coach. There, I'm shooting my shot. You might disagree. Okay. And he may not be, because maybe they go, whatever it is. What do you have, the rest of the ACC schedule? Maybe they only win two more games. And then you're going to go, okay, Rick, you were wrong. Sure, I'm wrong. No big deal. I told you what I think should happen. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm not betting on any of this. Right? It's like game predictions. People are like, oh, you didn't do great on that one. Okay. At least I had the balls to give my opinion, to make a choice. Doesn't work out, doesn't work out. If I miss a game with Jen, okay. We just have fun. I'm not dropping money. And I don't personally have anything invested in what happens over there, right? I work at another school. I'm not a season ticket holder. I don't donate. I didn't go to Tech. But I sure as heck want them to do well. I sure understand the importance of it. So you're asking me my opinion. I've been around a lot of coaches. I've been around a lot of interim coaches. I have covered Division I athletics, broadcasted it, interviewed coaches, been around for 30 years. And I can tell when something is taking a positive hold on something and when one is not. And this one is definitely headed in that positive direction under Philip Montgomery. That's all. I don't think even the naysayers can deny that, right? You can't just, because you don't want it, because you want this search, because you think there's some big sexy name out there. Right? Teen Wolf and Boof. Boof was by far hotter than the blonde that Michael J. Fox was chasing. Looks, personality, support, friendship, the whole thing. And then in the end, he realized, oh, you know what? You've been here all along. Hello. Maybe Virginia Tech's going to go, you know what? This whole thing, he's been here all along. Hokey Bob says, heck, after the ODU loss, as we go to our McClellan Chiropractic chat room, I was ready to accept the Dollar General stock boy to be the head coach. Boris says, I knew and know nothing about Montgomery. However, listening to his pressers, he seems like he is comfortable in the Virginia Tech skin. Yes, he wants the job. Just a Palm Coast Mai Tai thought. And Prometheus, I get it, man. I get that response. There's a lot of fans that want they want accountability. Accountability, it's accepted too much nowadays that accountability can just kind of be shooed away. People don't want to talk about accountability. People don't want to, let's be careful. We don't want to. So I get that aspect of it too. And Prometheus, I think a lot of fans feel like you right now. I get it. But we'll take it week by week. I think the next 2 weeks are going to tell us a lot about what I say about the head coach and what other people may say. A home game you should be able to handle against a team that's not very good, that hasn't been on the road, has a first-year head coach, a lot of young players. And then you go to Georgia Tech, who struggled big time in their last outing against the team that you're playing Sunday or Saturday. We'll see what they look like. See me in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks before you yell at me more. Thanks to Jason Green, everybody, Family Fencing, sponsoring our studios here in Reiner. Give them a call, 540-200-8294. They have payment plans. They have free quotes available. Any kind of fencing you want, give those guys a call. They're terrific. Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic. I won't get over there today. He's too busy. I did touch base with him yesterday because we want to do the video of me on the machines. But give him a call. Ralph Pepperfield Road, man. They'll take care of your back, whatever you got going on. He's great. He's great. Thanks to Travis Williams, Professional Incorporated. They sponsor our text line, obviously, and amongst other things. High school football show. 38 years, right across from the River Community College up in Dublin. Family owned and operated. They do garage doors better than anybody. I've been with National Bank 35 years. Larry Ramsey, member FDIC. Also sponsors of our high school football show. Thanks for all their support. Ryan Pry, the attorney, 701 West Main Street in Radford. I turned our question this week, our BDST fan question of the week, Ryan, into a yes or no. And it's simple now. Do you want Philip Montgomery to be considered to be the permanent head coach? Not to be named, but considered. I didn't want to do another win total thing. So there you go. We'll see what people say. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Charles Lee, best in the biz. Today's the first day of October. Happy October! I don't know what that was. No. Some reason I get in October, I'm thinking like Oktoberfest, beer, German, right? It's my birthday month, by the way. I'm a Halloween baby. I thought I was a goblin until I was 12 years old. My favorite all-time horror movie, Halloween. Oh, my goodness gracious. And we are brought to you every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. I'm going to try to get Jonathan Sweet on tomorrow, the director, talk more about what they're doing. It's very impressive. Very, very impressive. And go get your next vehicle from Harvey's GM down in Radford. Just don't mess around, okay? Makes no sense. Bought my last 3 from there. Wouldn't think of anywhere else. He's terrific. He's terrific. Tony, TP, wins speak for themselves. Winning fixes everything, and so far Montgomery is winning. Correct. Winning does fix everything. 100%. 100% it does. Prometheus says this is a game Tech has lost in the past 5 years. Yeah. Exactly. This is why I understand why people are down. Yeah, this is what I was talking about a little earlier over the last 8 years. This is, you're right, 100%. Emotions are high, as you're saying. This is the type of game that Virginia Tech has come back home. Think about that Purdue game a couple years ago. I mean, Purdue wasn't good. You're exactly right. And let's see if Philip Montgomery is changing the current culture of this team enough to go out and erase those types of feelings. Because I think they're going to come back and they're looking at everything as an opportunity, a huge opportunity. It's not Garfield. It's Balboa Creed. Somebody asked where Garfield was. He is my hunter. It's funny watching the guy. He's relentless. He's relentless. I've not seen him yet this morning. He'll pop in somewhere. My rescue kitty. Kion Brown joins us here in just about 10 minutes or so. But any event, good stuff at the presser yesterday. Great news about the money. And we'll talk to all the particulars today of people who know a lot more about it than I do. That's why we have on the cavalcade of guests that we have. I learned from them. Hopefully you do. I learned from you, the audience. So that's how this thing works. That's the way I've hoped. That's the way I have hoped this show comes across the last now 16 years. Counting this, we're in 16 years. 6 weeks here on YouTube. Let's keep the subscribers coming. Please like, share, let people know it's free. Again, we're about 540 something. If one of our subscribers gets one other person to subscribe, we'll be at 1,000 just like that. And then they leave me alone. And then we're good to go for quite a while. But agreed about this is the type of game. But I don't think they will. I think they're going to come out, try to build momentum. They're still learning how to win. They're still learning how to turn things around. It's not a big week of games in the ACC, but there's some crucial games. Florida State, Miami. Florida State's season could go completely down in the tank if they lose again. And I think they are going to lose. Carolina Clemson intrigues me because you have two struggling programs. You have two programs that just aren't good right now. Tech game notwithstanding. Virginia and Louisville, I think, is massive. And I don't know how that's going to go. Virginia can win that game. That's the kind of game you have to go in and play recklessly and then just, hey, we're coming off a big win against Florida State. Let's go and go on the road. I mean, speaking of trying to pull a rabbit out of the hat, you think about when this season started, Tony Elliott at Virginia and Brent Pry at Virginia Tech got hired at the same time. Neither one had ever been a head coach. Tony Elliott, of course, the coordinator from Clemson, the offensive coordinator, and Brent Pry was the co-defensive coordinator at Penn State. So there's a lot of the same trajectory going on there. And you see that what Tony Elliott is in the process of doing. Virginia had money. All right, Virginia is not lacking in money. They just finally got it right, it looks like, with their evaluations offensively in particular. And that's what I said earlier about Virginia Tech. You have the money now. You have to make the right decisions with it, and they haven't done that. With the people they've paid to make the decisions, and then those people and what they have done. Tech did not evaluate overall very well in this NIL portal era. Now, a lot of times guys will get paid and then they don't perform. But Virginia right now looks like they've hit on a lot of those guys. That offense is completely restructured. And Tony Elliott had to throw a Hail Mary this year because this was it for him. And he knows that. And you're seeing a guy who's in the process of not only saving his job, but depending on how UVA does going forward, I mean, he's likely to get an extension. I know that's how quickly it can change, just like Shane Beamer down in South Carolina last year. Wayne says Clemson's struggling, but rights the ship and wins by 21 this week. There you go. Take it to Vegas. Wayne has said it will be so. Dabo misses Elliott right now. Absolutely. That offense, one thing in it, yeah, it's a great point, Matthew. Clemson's offense, now I know, hey, they had that Trevor Lawrence guy with the golden locks. He's pretty good, but they have not fixed the offense since he left, either one of them. It's been a struggle. Yeah, just run the football. You got to run the football. What did Coach Elmasian say? What was the amount of carries? And I'm going to pay attention to that. We're going to have Coach Elmasian on every week, by the way. How great is that going to be? Phil Elmasian on here every week? Are you kidding me? You talk about a brilliant mind. 35. Yeah, 35. Look at the teams who rush the ball 35 times and who doesn't, and correlate the wins and losses. Yeah, Wake Forest won't be able to stop those two guys. Just keep running them. Let Drones get his in here and there. And Philip Montgomery's, everything's based on the running game. Every time, and back in the day, when it was a different time for coaches and a different time in media, when I had the radio show from 2001 to 2010, and we had broken the news, we did, about Tech making it into the ACC because Wes Durham called me. He was in the meeting. That's when he was the voice at Georgia Tech. during my show. It was an afternoon show then. Coach Beamer would join us every other week or every week. It was a lot, twice a month, or maybe it was every week. But everything was based on being able to run the football. Everything. Tech did not go into any game without figuring out how they could get their passing game on, how the running game was going to be successful. And he talked about that and the history of it and what he had learned. And every great coach is going to tell you the same thing. So when you can do that, and that's why I feel Mation's dead set on his plan. And he's got, I'm not going to spoil it. He sent me this piece of paper yesterday. He showed me a picture of it. Coach, if you're watching, I'm not going to spoil it. We're going to talk about it next week. By the way, Phil Mation agrees with me about Philip Montgomery. So I'll take that over getting yelled at. The people who are saying, no, we need to go on a search. But he's got this thing all drawn out, and it's going to be very impressive. And I'm not going to go into it. I'm going to let him reveal it here on the program. We got to get his camera fixed first. Got to get his camera fixed first. Reggie says, Virginia in top 3 of ACC funding now. Yes, but for continued success to come, it will take winning and more investment in the future. Can't stay put. And they will. They're going to invest. They're going to invest. They are. They are. Virginia Tech, Wayne says, was stubborn up until that 85-yard run running the ball. Everybody was screaming for it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. You've got to be dedicated to it. You do. Morris, running the ball effectively is the most demoralizing thing to the opposing team. We are going to have to run the ball, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, that you watch every game, and when you get beat up front, it's the most demoralizing thing to a football team every time. Every time. So there you go. All right, so we have a cavalcade of guests. We've talked about it. Damien Sordelett, Bill Roth, David Thiel, Brian Steinspring. Really? And getting it all kicked off is our friend and colleague and brother from another mother, Kion Brown. What's up, man? How are you? Good morning.
Rick Watson, what's going on, bro? How you doing?
Doing all right, man. How's the fam? Always like to ask, first and foremost.
Everyone's doing great. Can't complain about a thing. Made it out of August and September so far. The first 2 months of school over. We're on a downhill slope. For Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, I'm prepared, dude. College basketball is kind of around the corner. We'll say it's down the street right now.
Is it safe to say you count down the teaching calendar schedule after day one of class?
No doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. You have to break it down the correct way, though. When is your first 4-day weekend? That's how you do it. And then when is the first major holiday, which is Thanksgiving? And then, after Thanksgiving, you got that 3 weeks. And then it's Christmas. Then you got about 2.5 weeks off. Then you're smooth sailing.
Yeah, it's coming. October does mean, well, practice is already underway.
Yeah,
but it's changed. The whole calendar's changed. You used to not be able to start until what, middle of this month?
You start in the middle of the month, and the practices will be time.
Yeah.
So we'd be out there for 4 hours, just like, oh my goodness, like there's not this much practice in the world. I remember my freshman year, man. We practiced for so long. It was about 5 to 9. I was like, dude, I love college basketball more than anybody on this roster, but goodness gracious, I didn't know we practiced for 5 hours.
Yeah, for you big guys too, right? It had to be a little. Yeah, I can see that. Of course, yesterday, John Rothstein was in the New River Valley talking some hoops. Just happened to be in the New River Valley. Well, anyway, he was over at Virginia Tech, and he came down Radford at the practice, and then he spoke to some folks down at Radford. So early publicity for both of the programs here in the NRV. What'd you think?
Yeah, he had the same overall. What he thinks Radford's going to look like is exactly what I said. It's going to be positionless basketball, focused on analytics, and it's the team that I believe is going to represent the Big South in the NCAA tournament this year. It's that simple. They have the roster on paper. I think that although the jury is out for Coach Chu because we just don't know, he's a first-year coach, I think he surrounded himself with the proper staff so that the team can be successful. You got so many of those coaches who have pro experience, college experience, that they pretty much been there and done that in college basketball. So Coach Chu has a lot of guys that he can rely on in certain situations. And then when you talk about the roster and you talk about the high major talent that's on the roster that'll be playing in the Big South, it's just going to be tough for the other schools to keep up with. Now, I think High Point is going to be right there as well. I think there'll be 1A and 1B, 1 and 2 in the league. Those will be the two teams clashing and ultimately meet up in the Big South Championship. But in my opinion, it's Radford's league to lose. And that's good to say. But obviously, you and I are Radford alumni. Obviously, you and I are part of the program and have been a part of the program. So it's good to see that we'll be looked at as the hunter and not the hunted, right? So I think Ross is right.
I'm hearing good things about Longwood too. So I think it's going to be a 4-team race. I think it's going to be, at least on paper, it's going to be us. I think Longwood's good, Asheville's good, and of course High Point. The Purple People Eaters, they're going to be the preseason favorite. But those 4 teams are going to be really good. Yeah.
With Longwood, it's so much roster turnover, though. You just don't know yet.
And a new coach.
That's college basketball, and a new coach. You talk about Ronnie Thomas taking over for Griff Aldrich. I think Winthrop is going to be right there, Coach Prosser, and what they did.
He's well, yeah.
I think the Big South is always competitive, but I just believe – I'm just looking at it on paper right now. Obviously, we don't know. When the polls come out at the Big South Media Day next week, it's probably going to have High Point 1. That's just how the league is. And you and I talked about it on air last year. The voters, the commentators, the analysts, whoever gets their vote, they can't see the other teams. So they pretty much have to go off of word of mouth like we talked about. They pretty much have to go off of who's the defending champion, and you just give it to them sometimes just because. But when that ball tips off, it's a totally different season. A couple of years ago, you talk about Radford, had the best roster in the league, was picked to finish second, ended up last in the league. So you just don't know how it's going to go. We can only project.
Yeah, I do. I'm one of the ones that vote on it, but I try to contact the coaches, to kind of get a vibe before I just jump into it. So I think they feel pretty good about it. I know Mike Young feels good about Virginia Tech. You mentioned it already a couple times with the international import and what they did with the transfer from West Virginia and some guys coming back. This might be the most exciting team Mike Young has had coming back on paper. What do you think?
It is, and I'm excited because they knew what they had to correct as soon as the season was over last season. I mentioned it last week. One of the best quotes of college basketball was from Coach Young. He said, man, I love these kids here, but we just have to have more talent. And I love when coaches are honest like that.
Yeah.
Because it just shows you that they're how invested they are, and they can see the reality. A lot of coaches will put the blame on themselves, but in college basketball, saying that is putting the blame on yourself because you're responsible for recruiting. Right now, you got Isaiah Pasha, who was the CAA Rookie of the Year last season at Delaware. Nicholas Abdulas is the guy that everybody's talking about in the ACC right now. I can't wait to lay my eyes on him, and I'm going to even talk to Coach Byers later. I'm going to send him a text and see, is this guy a real deal, as people are saying, because they're saying he's like all ACC first or second team level talent. So I can't wait to hear about him. Toby Lawal, who is not only the most athletic player in the ACC, but he's the most athletic player in the country, returns. He was at VCU with Coach Byers a few years ago. So they have what they need to be successful and to compete in the ACC. I think Virginia Tech is going to be one of those surprise teams at the top of that'll be competing at the top of the league, right behind the NC States, the Louisvilles, the Dukes. I think North Carolina, the jury is out for them. I'm not as high on them as everyone else is, but they'll be competitive for sure. And I think they'll be closer to the middle to the mid top of the league than they were last year, being at the bottom.
Kion Brown joining us on the program. We're just breaking down some of the local hoopsters, Radford and Virginia Tech. You know, and I was thinking about, I said this earlier, I said it yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. I look around college football, and you've brought this up several times in relation to basketball with the portal and the NIL. The quality of college football games have been outstanding. And it's because I think we're seeing a leveling off a little bit. Teams are getting their rosters restocked more quickly and more consistently. And you mentioned this, you started seeing it in college basketball, a couple of years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. Do you think that trend's going to continue? It's good to see that it's happened in football, because I think the college football product right now is much better than the NFL. I don't know what the NFL's doing. It's just, but anyway, college basketball and college football seem to be benefiting, even though it's so much negativity around it, from what we're seeing with this opportunity to grab more talent across the board.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's positive parity. We talk about it all the time. You see smaller leagues having access to players that they might not have had access to a decade ago. And that's the transfer portal. That's the good thing about it. You have guys who have that chip on their shoulder, who's at SEC school, not getting much playing time, leveling down, going in basketball to a Big South school and just dominating the league because they have that opportunity. Think Drew Pember. And you'll continue to see that. You'll continue to see players have opportunities at lesser schools and produce more. And in return, you'll get a collection of talent at a Radford at a High Point, and then you'll go on the road to a high major program and you'll upset them. And then what's going to happen the next season is they're not going to want to schedule you, right? Talk to Robert Jones at Norfolk State. And he's like, it's so hard to fill out our schedule because nobody wants to play us because we've been so consistent at winning over the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, he's one of the best coaches in college basketball, pound for pound. What he has against the other schools, he may not have as much as far as money, as far as the facilities, as far as the access to certain things, but he's still one of the best coaches, and the top tier coaches know that. So they're scared to schedule him because they don't want to have that loss on their resume. And it's just going to be tough for them. That's why you see more home and homes for out of conference schools than you've seen in the past. Instead of having a home and home year to year, you're having home to homes in the same season over the last few years. You've been seeing that more and more. So it's positive parity at the end of the day. And it's just teams having access to talent and players that they might not have had access to a decade ago.
I had a college basketball head coach, a current college basketball head coach a couple years ago said that is the positive side of it.
Yeah.
But you know how we've talked about the time frame. Coaches used to get hired and say, hey, I have a 5-year plan, and all that. Yeah. Well, that's been out the window for a while. This coach said that realistically, amongst coaching circles, when they talk amongst their peers, they look at 2 years. They think if you haven't shown progress in 2 years, they're already figuring out a way to get rid of you. The pressure that comes with the ability to be able to go out and evaluate and grab this talent, the downside is it's even shortened the lifespan of these coaches to win. You've got to win. And you look at college football, already 5 openings in major college football, 4 in-season firings. Stanford didn't even hire a coach until next year because they didn't have time. But, I mean, I get it, right? Winning is the only thing that these athletic departments are looking at, and it makes perfect sense with all the money it's at stake.
Yep, and that's part of the reason why the ACC in basketball has such a turnaround and has such a down year, because of all of the old school coaches that just don't want to do it anymore.
They don't want to do it. Yeah.
It's just when you've been coaching as long as a Coach K or a Tony Bennett or a Jim Boeheim, and the list goes on, a Mike Bray in Notre Dame or a Leonard Hamilton at Florida State, and you have the changes in college athletics that you have, it's like, do I want to, navigate and switch how I do things? And the answer is no. And that's why you have so many coaches that we come to know and love just abruptly leave. And at the end of the day, it seems like coaching is a young man's sport now, because so many of them want to take this new brand of college athletics and make it their own. And I understand it, right? I really do. You have to be able to be willing to recruit and navigate your roster every which way at the end of the season, because guys are going to enter the transfer portal. And I'm not sure that some of these old coaches just want to continue with it. I know I probably wouldn't. You see the Tom Izzo's and the Kellen Sampsons doing it. But at the end of the day, that's why you saw the ACC be what it was, because some of these storied coaches just up and leave because they just can't keep up anymore. And I understand. I really do.
I do. I get it. I look back on it, and I think admitting that you probably didn't evaluate a situation correct. I was very critical of Tony Bennett, only because I felt like he quit on his team because he knew he was going to leave. He admitted he knew he was going to leave and never mentioned it. And they were blindsided, and a lot of those guys got upset. But it's a personal decision. When you've gotten to the point of saying, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I completely understand, because you've come up doing it a completely different way.
Yeah.
This is here. You know it's not going to change, and it's not for everybody. And so the guys you mentioned that are still doing it, more power to them. I'm very impressed that these more veteran coaches, whether it's football or basketball, are trying to tread the waters and figure it out.
Yeah, and they come from a different era too. Like, you can't coach the players in 2025 like you could coach the players in 2015. And you certainly can't coach it like it was 1995, when you pretty much could say what you want. You can run them as hard as you want, and those players wouldn't go complain to the higher ups and say, "Coach called me a whatever," right? Yeah. And now you say that is making headlines on, these daily talk shows just because the coach said X, Y, and Z. It's just changed. And I'm not sure on the coach's side if it's changed for the better. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I'll have to think about that a little bit harder, but it's just different in athletics, man. It just really is.
Well, it just goes to show you too, when coaches are talking like that this professional model is here.
Yeah.
It's professional sports, and they have to go into these jobs as if it's professional sports, because that's the way it is in the NFL. I mean, you've got guys that are getting hired, and if they don't win in 2 years, they're out the door. And I get it. I get it. And it's the same thing now in college. And I think these coaches are having a realization when they get with their peers saying, you know what, this is what we're looking at, guys, and it's tough. I know they make a lot of money. So, guys lose their job, they're still getting paid. But in terms of your livelihood and something you love to do, it's changing not just the way things are set up with your roster year in, year out, but also with, how you're going to view your hires and so forth. It's interesting. It's this process we're living in is interesting, to say the least.
Yeah. Maybe more coaches need to take the Rick Barnes approach. You remember after one of those games last year, you said, this player's making $300,000. He needs to play better. He just simply does.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't either. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what more coaches need to do moving forward. I think some of them are like, it's a blurred line for some of them. But for a Rick Barnes, we say he's from a different cloth, though. He's one of those old school coaches as well. He's going to say how he feels, and he's going to say it to the media. He's going to say it so that you get the message. And maybe more coaches need to take a page out of Rick Barnes' book and say that, because it's just, like you said, they're pros at this point. You're making so much money that, how you play affects everybody around you now. Guys wanted to get paid, you get paid. Now it comes with added pressure.
What's wrong with Jaden Daniels? What's wrong with our guy? Is he coming back?
He's coming back this week, finally. My goodness, he's been out for the last, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Bad one. It was a bad loss on Sunday. When you get shut out by Carolina 30-0, and then you come back against us and score 34 points, we have one of the worst defenses in the NFL, which I knew because we have the oldest roster. We have one of the worst defensive coordinators right now who just doesn't know what he's doing. Marshawn Lattimore, who we got in the middle of the season last year, was supposed to be a top 5 cornerback, is one of the top 5 worst cornerbacks. He gets burnt every week.
He does.
Like, my goodness. I just don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen. That was the easy part of our schedule. The first 4 games was
right.
Split 2-2. Now we got the Chargers coming up. We got Dallas soon, who looks good offensively. We still got Philly twice. We still got Kansas City. We still got Chicago, who looks like they're trending in the right direction. It's going to be a tough season, man.
Well, we'll see. He's killing my fantasy team, too. I'm a little salty. Yeah. But anyway. All right, my friend. Listen, have a great rest of the week. Great breakdown as always. And we'll reconvene next Wednesday.
Absolutely. All right, brother. Appreciate you, man.
All right, brother. Spread the word about the channel. I know you are.
Got you.
All right, man. We'll see. Am I seeing you next week? I get to see you next week, right? You coming in for Woo?
I'm not sure if I'm coming now. Some things have changed, but we'll see.
I understand. All right. Well, keep me updated. Love to see you.
Buddy.
All right, brother. Take care, man. Stay safe. Good stuff there from Kion Brown, as always. Good breakdown. He's got the pulse of this thing. He's a lot of the things that are happening, he's talked about the last couple of years on the show. He's not surprised at all. Damian Sordelett will join us next. We'll get into the money and Philip Montgomery's temperature check over in Blacksburg. Let's see here. Where are we? Hokey Bob and your colloquialisms. I like bowling ball, Stewart, and your optimism. Love you, man. Keep that sharp BT mind going. I'll bring extra mint in Woodford. Yeah, if you guys are doing the whole mint and Woodford tailgate, I need to be there. I mean, I want to be there for that. I feel like I should be. I feel like I've, maybe earned that invite. I want to be there for that. That sounds pretty good to me. I'm sure the meets will be just fine. But what Keon said, too, before Damien jumps in, I think that all this should be a contractual basis. I don't know why we have to keep it so hush-hush. I don't know why these deals are happening and all this money is getting paid and we have to just almost go back to the old way and pretend like players weren't getting paid. Blue chips. I mean, it's been going on since the 50s, probably before that. Why would anyone at this point have a problem with it? It should be like anything else. It should be performance. All I know is you and I get paid for performance at our jobs, correct? I mean, that's the way it is. Hang on, I'm a little parched this morning. Sorry to keep going off camera, but you don't even want to watch me take a drink or something. So I had no problem. Rick Barnes got a lot of criticism for what he did. I don't know who the player was, but he did. He said he's making $300,000. He should play better. What's wrong with that? Why are we trying to shield these young people when they jump into this with a business mind, trying to get their bag? Most don't care where they're playing as long as they're getting paid. Let's just say it the way it is. Let's just quit pretending that this is still the old model, because it's not. These guys across the country, every place, are mercenaries. They're just jumping to get as much money as they can, negotiating deals, whether they have an agent, whether it's their family, whatever it might be. If they're going to sign big-time college deals, they need to have incentive clauses in there. Sorry, they do. If you're not performing to a certain level, you can throw the educational piece in. That's right, because there's still a school aspect, correct? I think. Put the educational requirements in there, incentives. What's wrong with that? Right? Like, we're doing all this. A lot of these guys are making more money than you and I would ever dream of making, but yet we don't talk about it. It makes no sense. David says payers play should be listed in the game programs. That's pretty funny. All right, Morris says actually it's Hokey Bob's call. Oh, okay, Hokey Bob. Morris is putting it on you. Like Tech hiring a GM. He said, I got to hit him by horses. Is Morris the GM of the Mint tailgate and Woodford tailgate? That's what it sounds like to me. Did we have like a power structure develop here in our McClellan chat that I didn't know about? Looks like it. Please like, subscribe, and share the channel. We need to get to 1,000. And when we do that, we'll be in a good spot. Remember, if one person who subscribed gets one person to subscribe, we'll be there. We'll be there. Thanks, Professional Door Incorporated, sponsors of our text line, Travis Williams and Company, garage doors, residential, commercial, Route 100 Dublin, right across from New River Community College. 38 years in business. Larry Ramsey, National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST. I've been with them 35 years. 35 years. The attorney Ryan Price, sponsor of our BDST fan question of the week. Yes or no? Are you honestly okay with considering Philip Montgomery to be the permanent head coach? That's our fan question of the week. Right now, I'm getting more no's. Okay. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Go see Charles Lee. They're the absolute best. And Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. You're going to have announcements here in the next calendar year. National events are going to be happening in Pulaski County once they're finished with the new sportsplex. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Get ready. Get ready. We're going to have a lot more opportunities, a lot more business opportunities because of what Jonathan Sweet and his crew are doing. Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic, thank you. Sponsor of our chat line. You're getting your money's worth, Marco. Things exploded. And our first official partner here on the program, Family Fencing Studios, sponsored. They were the first ones, Jason Green and Company. So they'll always have a special place. You all do, all the people sponsoring this program. You get free quotes. Finance options are available, locally owned. Hit them up, 540-282-94. They are terrific. Damien Sordelett is going to join us here in just a little bit. Let's get caught up here. Hoagie Bob says, nowadays the educational demand is 41 on a list of 41 player demands. Correct. Just getting them by first semester is really all that matters. Let's just say it the way it is. I'm not going to come on here and pretend things are different than they really are. I mean, if these guys who are coming in, especially if they have 1 year, all they have to do is get through December. And if they're still eligible academically, they're not going to worry about what happens in school in most cases, or some. I won't say in most. Let me be fair. In some cases, there are a lot of kids who are going to class to be graduate students and to get a degree. It still means something. Morris is asking Hokie Bob to draw up the organizational chart. Prometheus says, Witt's getting paid but not even allowed to make decisions. Very bizarre optics. Hokie Bob says, I can come. Good. Bring your drinking shoes. Jason, there you go. Speaking of family fencing, I'm okay with considering Montgomery. I like what he's getting out of the players right now, but I'd like to see more. And that's fair. Absolutely. Before going all in. But he's definitely doing work. See, there you go. There's a polite disagreement instead of yelling at me. All right. Bill Roth coming up here in about, let's see. Was it 20 minutes? Make sure I get it right. Yep. Joining us now on the program. Covering Virginia Tech in a terrific way each and every week. Damien Sordelett, the Virginia Tech football beat writer for the Roanoke Times. What's up, brother? Good morning.
Morning, Rick. Pretty good morning, I guess, for Virginia Tech fans.
Yeah, how about that? $229 million richer over there, huh?
Yeah, well, if you want to know, it's $47.1 million richer immediately.
Yeah,
and that's
right off the bat.
And now you got to figure out what you're going to do with the money.
Well, let's talk about that. This is the first step. We kind of knew. You and I talked about it. It was kind of just a foregone conclusion. 13-1. I don't know who didn't vote positively for it, but good news all around. It's going to put them, in the top third or so, like that, right, in terms of revenue? Or money, anyway?
If you include Notre Dame, it's going to put Virginia Tech right there with Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida State. The numbers Witt presented at the meeting, I don't think included the rev share and the fact that he mentioned it was like $122 million for Virginia Tech, but then the board said, well, our operating budget for this year is like $157, and that includes rev share. So it looks like, a little off there. So I assume Clemson and Florida State are a little bit higher, but that puts Virginia Tech up there with them. And based on the available numbers, would be top 20 in the nation. So
wow.
Playing with the big boys, and there's going to be no more talk of doing more with less. That's the old adage Virginia Tech has said, we do more with less, and that's where it where we're at. Virginia Tech is now going to be competing with the big boys, and now they got to produce on the field like the big boys.
Yeah, that's right, and that's been part of the problem, right, Damien? They've had money, not this type of money, but they haven't made good decisions with it. The people getting paid clearly haven't made good decisions. So now it's time to start doing that. You're turning this opportunity. You've got to make sure you get it right by making proper evaluations, whether it's players, coaches, GMs, whatever it might be. Earn all the money those people are making, right, in those jobs.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. These decisions have to be the right ones. And we're going to have an athletics investment oversight committee that's going to be in charge of, that's going to be reporting to SANS and the Board of Visitors with how this money is being spent. We have no idea who's going to be on the committee. We don't know who's on the search committee right now other than Bruce Arians. I would say you need to make these hires right. And if I go off Witt's numbers that he presented for the investment to win, which was the $52 million ask, he did mark $2 million to go toward a robust front office, pro-style front office for football. So that might be a glimpse into what a GM and his staff could be making. So that kind of puts you in the ballpark of, okay, that's some pretty good coin for your, GM position, because we don't know what NFL front office personnel make because they don't make those numbers available. So, so you're putting together some good money, and right now that's considerably more than what Witt makes on a yearly basis in his current position as athletic director. So we'll see what that looks like, and we'll see how things play out. We need some sort of vision from the university of how they're going to redo the athletics, where the money's going. So that should be interesting to see how that unfolds here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And now that this has happened, I guess the Witt watch will be back on a little bit. We kind of knew things were going to stay stabilized until this officially came down. So now what will it look like in a week or two in terms of his positioning over there? Yeah.
Does he slide over to become the athletics CEO? Or someone brought up Missouri. I can't remember if it was on a message board about how they've hired an athletic CEO. They have their own business operations in their athletic department. It's like a 7 to 8 person job where you have a CEO, you have a CFO, you have a COO, you have people running the business side, of athletics. And then you also have an athletic director. Now, they don't have a football general manager who runs everything. So I could see some variations of this where you get your football GM who runs the football side of things, from roster management, rev share negotiations, what I'm thinking of recruiting and putting together that staff, handling salary negotiations for coaches. And then you have someone who oversees the money side of things for the entire athletic department. And then maybe you have an athletic director below him who essentially runs the day-to-day. And then you build a CEO office. So that way you have people in charge. And that way you can also get some people who are competent in running fundraising, because the Hokie Club, as we've well documented, is woefully understaffed and needs to be brought up and modernized. So it'd be nice to see like a CEO come in and say, all right, we need to restructure this so that way we get more people to help with fundraising. And I think that was also part of the ask as well, was getting more money and more resources for fundraising, and also to help, since athletics is going to be such a big deal and you're going to have to deal with the transfer portal and constant movement, you need more people, probably specifically for athletics, to work in the registrar's office. You need more people specifically to work in admissions. There's a housing, and there's a lot of that stuff that needs to be addressed. So maybe you take what's asked and you go all in on it, or you pick and choose what you think is the best bet, and to see, what you think is the best things for the university, and then, put your own twist on it if whoever's making the call.
Damien Sordelett joining us on the program, the Virginia Tech football beat writer for the Roanoke Times. What do you sense the confidence level is over there if Witt remains, as opposed, him being able to work and him being able to say he just gets completely out of football and his willingness to do all that? Does it? I mean, I haven't heard one fan say they want him to remain in any position over there. So, I mean, what do you think the vibe is starting to circulate over there with that acceptance from him and him being able to coexist with this whole new football structure?
I think you have to coexist if you want a job.
Yeah.
But if he is forced to resign or retire early, he gets a nice paycheck through through the end of the 28-29 season. So, he wants to be working, and I commend that. And I think he knows he needs to adapt to this new level, this new style of athletic department. So, he might even have to take a pay cut in order to do this. I mean, they might say, hey, your responsibilities are now shrinking because of this. Take a pay cut. Just because your value isn't as high as it once was because you don't have a hand on football. And I know his contract's going to have to be restructured because there are some football incentives in his contract.
Right.
So that's probably going to be part of the process. Is he's going to have to renegotiate his contract. He has said this is his last contract. He's not going to be working past this. And he also said he serves at the pleasure of the president and the board. So I'm sure there will be some discussions. The next scheduled meeting's November. That might be when we get the first inclination of, is there any change going to happen? And I'm sure we'll be eagerly waiting to see what the schedule is for that, to see if there's any discussions about athletics. I'm sure there will be, because they're probably going to need to address where the money's going, especially for this year, and what changes are being made at the front office, so to say. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And I think we'll have to wait till November, because I think once you get a football general manager in place, then you can start looking ahead and see what happens.
Yeah, it's interesting. It just seems like it's just like clogging the whole system. I don't know. We'll see. But
you need someone right now to handle the day-to-day, and Witt's done it. So until you develop and present how you want your athletic department structured and you have the pieces in place, you need someone there who's done it, and Witt's done it. So until I think you get a plan in place that says, here's how we're structuring the athletic department, from what the hierarchy is, what the chain of command, how we're going to staff it out. That's, we're going to have to wait to that and Witt's staying around till then, because you need someone who's done it. And I don't want to say a certain name that we've mentioned before in this that might get some people riled up in the chat, but I don't think you want someone else running the athletic department right now.
It's okay to name it. They know who it is.
Yeah, someone needs to take a hit of cannabis right now and calm down.
All right, what are you hearing about the portal? You heard about guys? I mean, they've got to the 14th officially. Mike Burns was talking about that. Any more scuttlebutt? What's the plan over there? What's going on with guys?
No, I mean, it sounds like two of the guys we thought would be entering, Caleb Woodson and Quentin Reddish, are dealing with injuries. Though, I mean, the fact that Woodson traveled and then, like, Reddish didn't travel, Koval didn't travel. Koval's been out for 3 straight games, so I don't know if that's like a legit injury or, he's got a redshirt year. He could be looking at that. And again, we've gotten to the first of the month, and some rev share payments are probably coming out. So do you now decide, okay, I'm going to the portal, or do you see what plays out with a teammate who has retained the counsel to fight not receiving rev share payment because they felt he was opting out because he wanted to redshirt for the rest of the year, and I guess according to the attorney, did not express his intention on transferring. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out. I know the attorney told Andy Bitter that they want to resolve this amicably, probably not in the public eye. So, that could dictate how things go from the portal standpoint. Do you say, okay, I'm redshirting, but I want to stay and practice and be part of team meetings and help out, but just not play? So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Because then you might get your portal movement in January instead of now. So, but usually, traditional sense, redshirting was the coach's decision, and it was a mutual decision. This is the first time we're seeing players come to coaches and say, hey, I want a redshirt to preserve my year of eligibility. And then the coaches are like, wait, you're in the 2 deep. You need to help. So, this is kind of a new. I think Virginia Tech is essentially the guinea pig for determining how this is going to play out among other universities, because I don't think we've seen this happen anywhere else. So Virginia Tech is essentially the test dummy here, and Tech has been able to watch to see how some of these things have played out at other universities, not in this type of situation, but in other type of. I can't remember a situation like this that's similar, but now we get to see how this plays out. So interesting scenario. If no one else enters, but by the 14th, that will say something was done behind the scenes where, all right, we'll let you redshirt, just practice, help out. But again, we're monitoring how many games people have played. Yeah. Christian Ellis is just reached game 4, and he still has a redshirt year available. So we'll see, if he's on the field moving forward. So we'll see how that plays out and see what transpires, because it could get really messy before it's all said and done.
All right, finally, let me ask you, Damien, just your opinion. What do you think has to happen in terms of Phil Montgomery's success for all of a sudden him to be a guy who could make this a very easy decision for everybody and say, you know what, we should just kind of stick with the guy we've got here and name him, take off the interim tag? What do you foresee he needs to do to actually be a serious contender for the job?
Go 9-0.
Really? You think he's got to go run the table? Wow.
Yeah, because I have a feeling you're going to have a football GM who's in a search committee that's going to want to make a splash.
But who's out there? That's what I was talking about earlier. What does that look like? You're going to get a guy who hasn't been coaching, that just has an itch he wants to scratch? You're going to go out and get a guy who's been fired somewhere else? Are you going to get somebody to go from another program and come
Matt
in like
Campbell?
Yeah, he's not going to leave Iowa State.
Yeah, but Iowa State's facing a $147 million budget deficit in athletics through 2031, and Virginia Tech had just added $229 million to its athletic budget.
Yeah. He wanted the job 4 years ago.
Yeah, but I think you go to Matt Campbell and say, you just got a contract extension that's paying you $5 million a year. What if we up it between $7 to $9 million a year, and your staff gets a nice pay bump? And oh, by the way, we're not bleeding money.
But it's not like he's had Iowa State at the national precipice either.
Right, but also Iowa State is currently in the top 15 in the nation.
Yeah, this year they are. Yeah, this year.
And they played in the Big 12 championship game last year. So now it's the matter of, now that you're in that second rung behind the Big 10 and the SEC and you're there with the ACC, you look at which path's better to get to the college football playoff. Is it the Big 12 or is it through the ACC? So I think if you're Virginia Tech in the search committee, you go to Matt Campbell and make him say no. And you present the facts. And especially if you can go to your agent and say, we're pumping money into this athletic program, and Iowa State's having to stop projects that they had in the works and not move forward with those because they're facing a deficit. So, where do you want to be at? And I think Matt Campbell's a loyal guy. He'll probably stay at Iowa State, but I think that's the first call you make. That's the type of coach I think Virginia Tech should go after, someone who is a program builder and is known for getting the best out of his players and developing them and building a culture that they want to stay. I think that would be the best bet. Outside of that, people keep chirping Cliff Kingsbury's name in my ear, and that would be, if you want someone who has done it in the college level but didn't end well at Texas Tech, but he has coached Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Kyler Murray. Guy knows quarterbacks.
He does know quarterbacks. There's no question.
There's no quarterbacks.
He's a good one himself, yeah.
And if you can get a defensive coordinator with him that knows what he's doing, I mean, that would work. But you got to go for Campbell. Those are the types of guys you need to go after. I think what Montgomery has done through 2 weeks is certainly remarkable, and you have to commend him for getting this team to buy in that quickly. But again, until we know who's on the search committee, it sounds like they want to go out and get a home run hire. So that's why I think unless Montgomery runs the table here and Virginia Tech's playing in the ACC title game, I think that's what he's going to have to do. That's going to be the only way they consider him.
Well, the thing about a guy like Campbell too, anybody like that's going to have to accept the fact Tech's going to have a GM they don't know already in place, and I don't know how those relationships are going to go, or how that mindset's going to be. From, like you just mentioned, Matt Campbell's run his own program and developed it. Right. Player evaluations. He's got his system. This whole thing about having a GM here he doesn't know. Again, you're creating I just don't like it.
But it's also if the GM's hired. If the GM's hired and in place and is part of that search committee, then the GM can start getting to know the prospective candidates, and that could, ease some concerns. So that's the only thing that I think could work is you get the GM in place and he's part of that coaching search where he's in the interviews. So that's one thing that I think would help. So I mean, again, we got. Hopefully to the end of this month is by the time they get a GM in place. And then hopefully over the next month after that through November, you get that GM on the ground, talking to the candidates, interviews, whatever you need to do to get the prospective coach on the same page as the GM. So there's time to do this. Firing Pryor in week 3 definitely helped with getting the ball rolling on that and hopefully getting people in place. So, but again, it goes back to the top of what you said. You got to make the right hires. You got to get the right people in place, because with all this money, if you just crap the bed with it, you're going to be spending money out the wazoo, and your return on investment is going to be nothing. So the hires are in paramount importance for Virginia Tech.
Absolutely. Well, DS, great stuff as always, brother. Appreciate you. Keep up the great work covering for the Roanoke Times, man. And we will talk to you next week. We'll see if Tech's on a 3-game winning streak, perhaps, after Saturday.
How about that? All right. Talk to you then.
All right, man. Be good. Damian Sordelett joining us on the program. Good stuff from him. Your thoughts on that? I mean, I like Matt Campbell. He wanted the job 4 years ago. So, and money does talk. To Damian's point, money does talk. If he's doubling his salary there, it sounds like Damian's got some intel. They've already decided that it doesn't matter what Phil Montgomery does. Blair says Hiram Montgomery has the same feel of Miami hiring Larry Coker or West Virginia Bill Stewart. Yeah, that worked out in the short term. That worked out in the short term for both of those guys. Not long term, but short term it did. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Also on our BDST professional door text line. We would love to hear from. Yes, we would. Tech's got Wake Forest this week, 6.5, still the spread right now. So they're favored to do well, and I think they will. I think they're going to play well on Saturday. And going forward, it's just a lot, man. Just a whole lot. A lot to absorb, a lot to try to figure out. But that's interesting. 9-0. Boy, that's a tough metric, isn't it? He's got to run the table, really? We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But if they're determined to have to find that guy the way they want to do it, it's going to have to be somebody who's going to have to – they're going to have to get it right. They're going to have to get it right. But right now, I don't think you're going to have a coach who could do a better job of leading a team through what he's done than what Phil Montgomery has done. There's no doubt about it. He's been terrific. He's been absolutely terrific. Seeing a lot about James Franklin on social media. No, that's not going to happen. No. I don't know who these people are. Where'd you see that, James Franklin? Now, Penn State's a little frustrated with James Franklin. He doesn't win big games. Do you want that and the ego that comes with it? VT Hokie Gal, Virginia Tech feeds these reporters and writers info they want. Sure they do. Absolutely. Every athletic department does that. David says, go after North Dakota State's coach. Best sub-Division II program in the country. Yeah, they win all the time. Wouldn't have to pay a guy like that as much either. You're going to have to pay a Matt Campbell $10 to $15 million a year. Hokie Bob, Virginia Tech has gone from a plastic chess set to a golden chess set. Now you still have to play the almost perfect game of chess. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can have beautiful pieces. Yeah. But it may not work out. Yeah. You got to move them in the right places. Hey, Rodney, good morning. No coach is going to be anything unless you win. Also, you don't know until they are there. I mean, yeah, amount of money doesn't mean, wins. You got to win the games. And Iowa State, yes, this year they put together a terrific season. Last year, and I know they're looking at an overall deficit, but they're going to feed the football program what they can. They're not just all of a sudden going to stop giving that football program, money and so forth. But Damien was emphatic. He had to win out. So apparently is not on the mindset over there. That's interesting to me. It seems like a really difficult ask. I think he's already gotten him through a very difficult time as he continues to progress. But hey, if nothing else, let's say Tech decides to do that. If Damien's right and they're dead set on going this new way that is not really organized yet with the committee and the hiring. If those things are true, Phil Montgomery can continue to build his own resume here. Right. And secure his future somewhere else, because he wouldn't be part of this staff if they do decide to go ahead and just tear the whole thing down. It's interesting how they have the mindset to tear down everything regarding the coaching surge, but yet they're still, according to Damien, they're still considering not doing it with the AD. Right? And you've got a guy right now who's being successful revitalizing the team. So I don't know. But you see what I'm saying? if you're dead set on if you just want to clean everything out on the football coaching side of it, why aren't you doing that throughout your whole department? I don't know. The ins and outs and all the things that are going on, we don't know. We just don't know. Paul says Montgomery could go after he's, this year and go to one of these open schools and win right away. Yeah, he'd be motivated for that too. I just know Mike Burnop was speaking glowingly of him yesterday. I think if you set the bar that he has to go 9-0 where this team was, you're basically telling him, hey, you know what? You're doing us a favor, but you're out of here. That's tough, man. Yeah, if he gets stuck to a bowl game, I mean, if he wins Saturday, which I think he will, he's going to be 3-0. And then you got to win, 3 more somewhere to make it to a bowl game. That would be, tell me that wouldn't be a minor miracle. I mean, he can pull that off. But you have money to play with, and expensive toys are a lot of times high maintenance, depending on what you do. And here's the thing, too. We don't have any idea what the committee is going to look like. They don't know. They haven't named anybody officially. Now, Damien said Bruce Arians is on the committee. I'm not sure he's going to be officially on the committee. I know he's advising. That's basically what he said. Maybe he's changed his mindset. We can ask Burnop. He's best friends with Bruce Arians. That's a pretty good source to find out whether he'll be officially on the committee or he won't be on the committee. Yeah, you go to the bowl game after the way this year started. I think every Tech fan would go, you know what? You could do worse than Philip Montgomery, which is what I was saying last week. I just like the way he's handled himself. He's been a pro. He's created a genuine enthusiasm within the team. There's a lot of good stuff that he's brought, and I would hope that would be looked at going forward. Wayne says 229 million is like me getting 1 million subs. Imagine 1 million. Wow. Definitely not worry about the day job anymore. I've had 1 million subs. David says, get Tech to a bowl game and beat this UVA team. How could you let him go? And you see, that's going to be another dilemma. Maybe he ends up creating a dilemma instead of, easing the pain. Maybe he's going to create a dilemma there too that, is going to be interesting. Maybe he's going to be so successful that, I don't know. It's a good question. Paul says once he gets those shirts, we will have all kinds of subs. Subs, the shirts have been officially ordered. Officially, they have been ordered. Sorry, I'm texting some of our future guests here. Thought I sent the invite to Bill, but I have not heard from him, so I don't know if he's going to be able to join us or not. David Teel at 7:40. And then Brian Steinspring at 8 o'clock. Talk about Roanoke College. And that football program continues to develop. Really good. Really good. Very exciting. Very exciting. Don't forget about us little people. Look, hey, I'm just trying to get to 1,000. I need you to help me get to 1,000. Wayne put in 1 million. Jersey Mike's 100%. David, 100%. You know what I used to like in terms of subs? Was Quiznos. Remember Quiznos? Is that what it was called? It was called Quiznos, right? Because we had one in Radford. And, man, you could go in there and get a nice meat sandwich, and they would absolutely plaster the meat on there. And they'd warm it up just right. Used to love Quiznos. I did. Now, maybe, I guess a lot of people didn't because they left. Hey, I'm just getting ready for the fan roundtable where you send the link to fan. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to have a post something on a Saturday when I've got nothing going on. Those are getting few and far between, but I'd like to do that. And yeah, we can just, I can send invites to fans, and then fans can jump right on. My neighbor just told me I had a package delivered at their house. Okay, I'll go get it here in a little bit. Wayne, imagine that. I was talking about Quiznos last night. Love the steak one and the sub roll toasted. Yeah, I think that's the one I used to get, the Philly steak and cheese. Good stuff, man. But I would like to do that. And what I'll do is you have to send me your email. You can do it on the text line if you don't feel comfortable doing it in the chat room. And we'll roll out that way and have you jump on, just like we have our guests on. You can get as many as 6 people on the screen. The most we've had is 4, but you can get 6. You can get 6 people on the screen. Yeah, the other place you mentioned, David, I don't think they give you enough stuff. It's a lot of bread. Lot of bread. Substation was good, yeah. Substation was good. Yeah, that's optional, Wayne. Your bank information, yeah, that's optional. That's how you can donate to the program like Wayne has done. You see, Wayne's name is in green because he has signed up for one of the perks of getting to 500 is ways you can contribute to the program. What is it, Super Chat? You can buy a badge or whatever. There's a place down in Rock Hill. When I go to Winthrop, we always go to Penn Station Subs. I think that's what it's called. That is really good. Penn Station. Jeff Kleppen, my former broadcast partner, got me hooked on Penn Station. So I always try to get down there because Winthrop's a drive you can make separately. And I always try to get down there a little sooner for Winthrop, because I want to stop there. And even if I don't eat it then, I'll grab a sub and I'll have it for later after the game. What about Chancey's? You know, I never ate, I never did eat at Chancey's. Krusty's with a CH. Yeah, the fries are pinned. There you go. Wayne knows. Yeah, the fries are really good. The fries are really good at Penn Station. That's what I'd probably do. I'd get now usually I'd get there early enough to sit down to eat it, but I'd save the sub for later and I'd eat the fries. The fries would be my pregame meal. And everyone down at Winthrop would go, okay, yeah, that works. I understand why you have fries. I get it. Absolutely. 100%. Good stuff though. But yeah, Quiznos was my fave. What's the other sandwich place? It's pretty good too. It's in Christiansburg. Was it Ditch Witch, whatever those are called? Yeah, Alley's is gone now down here. It's now Route 8 something. I've not eaten there. It would be. Yeah, it'd be great. They should jump on board here. We need a restaurant sponsor. We don't have any food sponsors. Yeah, restaurant in a show like this, a sports show, Yeah, which. Thank you. Which. That's pretty good too. That's good stuff. Which. But yeah. We'd love to have them. But there's a lot of things you can do. You know, when you got a food sponsor, you can give away coupons. You can do contests. People have to go by there to get we're going to do a restaurant's great for like the NCAA tournament brackets. They're great for that. They're outstanding for that. Yeah. Because then you can just say, hey, you got to go there, fill them out, turn them in there, and then they're there. Oh, I haven't been there, Jason. Papa's Pizza in Parisburg has the best Italian sub. Hey, maybe we can get Papa's Pizza to sponsor the Marty and Rag segment. That'd be great. Papa's Pizza. Jason's also a high school football official, so he travels all over, so he would know. One of the things I miss about Dan Callahan, whenever we travel to do games, he always knew places that you never heard of. Food places. He would plan it. We're going to go here. We're going to get there at a certain time. We're going to enjoy it. You're going to be glad. And he was right every time. Delicious. They could run game day specials, David says. Yeah, they could do that too. They could do that too. Yeah, you can do a lot. So if there's any food potential, you're looking to try to get your restaurant or whatever it might be, if you're a franchise owner, I think we could help you. We've helped a numerous amount of our sponsors here on the program. David Teel scheduled to join us next. I guess we're not going to hear from Bill. I hope it went through. I don't know. Might be some issues this morning. If they named a sub after you, what would it have on it? No, it would not have cucumbers and lettuce, Wayne. Meat and cheese. Hokies Rock says, don't think Dan ever passed the restaurant. Correct. But boy, he was right. Whenever he'd find these places. He was the one that taught me, when you go out of town like that, to always go to a local place. Don't go to some chain you can go to anywhere. Always find, I never appreciated that enough or understood it, but now everywhere, when I go and I'm traveling with RU, I'm always trying to go to a place, you know, that's local to the community there, to the culture. Yeah, Brick House would be great. That'd be awesome. River City Distillery, yes, that'd be awesome. We could sample things during the show. The big dog footlong. Well, I won't elaborate on that, you know. Won't be elaborating on that. But yeah, it'd be good stuff. Good stuff all the way around. Good stuff all the way around. Now, let's see here. Let's see. We got David Teel joining us. We got Brian Steinspring. Let's see. Just now heard from Bill. We're trying to adjust here. He didn't get the invite until just now. This is what happens with live programming. This is what we do here on the show. Favorite burger place? Mike's was mine. Mike's was good. Yeah, Mike's was really, really good. I'm a Five Guys guy. You talk about fries now. They do that in the peanut oil. No problem. Yeah, this Bill was up working, ain't getting to bed after 2 a.m., so he just got up. Yeah, no problem. We'll do Bill at 8:15 today. How's that? So Bill's going to join us about 8:15. We're just going to structure the order around here. We could do Bill and Teel at the same time. We could do that. But I think Bill needs a little more time. Hokies Rock, we tried. They don't really have that kind of budget. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense since it's spelled the same way. So we're just altering things. Brian Steinspring and then Bill Roth. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the Hall of Famer from multiple places all over the world. The best in the business, David Teel. David, how are you, brother? Good morning.
Good morning, Rick.
Wow, let's go through your tour of the weekend, man. I kept thinking about you Friday night. Wow, what a football game. Oh, my goodness gracious. That was a lot of fun. Virginia.
It was.
Double overtime. Your thoughts as you watched that unfold? They had opportunities, looked like it was going to get away, but to find a way to win, man, that was enormous for that program and Tony Elliott.
It sure was. And, echoes of 1995, obviously.
Yes.
Not Virginia's first top 10 win of the Elliott era. 2 years ago, they went down to Chapel Hill and
That's right.
beat a top 10 Carolina squad with a lot of hype around it. But the Cavaliers couldn't sustain that. That's the big challenge now, is to build, stack wins. And unbeaten Louisville on the road this week will present a really interesting test. But an amazing evening in Charlottesville, great theater on both sides, really. And there were times where I was jealous of the viewers at home because Rick, there were 6 replays.
Yeah.
And you at home got to hear it all, got to hear that audio, got to hear the collaboration among the field referee.
That's great too.
Booth replay guy, and then the game day ops center in Charlotte. And I went back and rewatched. And it's some fascinating dialogue as they decided, right down to the last series there of the final overtime where Deuce Robinson is juggling the ball. And that was the correct call.
Yes.
That he was
right
not in full control in the end zone. And then, poor Jason Pavard and the FSU intended receiver on the final play, because they're prone in the end zone, and those students, that's the quickest field storm ever. And the commissioner of the ACC was there. He was not amused.
No, he was not.
It's just too fast. They need to do something. When they have a game, you could see this, you could see it coming. And when you're hosting a top 10 squad and you've got all this pent up emotion in the building, you got to have better security than that.
Is that not one of the best additions to a broadcast? All the criticism that goes on.
Great stuff.
It's the best thing I've seen added to media coverage of events maybe in the last 10 years. They get that audio. It's just awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
No, it is. And I'm writing about it later this week. I wrote about in preseason about the advent of it, and the genesis of the idea really goes back to last year, shortly after the Miami-Virginia Tech game.
Right.
And there was so much confusion, and in a subsequent meeting, and it was a regularly scheduled meeting, it wasn't specially called, a monthly meeting at ACC headquarters between the network and ACC types. They were kicking around ideas. How can we make the broadcast better? I said, we could use some transparency with replay. And lo and behold, they made it happen. It's not for every game. It's for select ones. But boy, Virginia, Florida State turned out to be quite the choice for that night. And you could tell the talent. Bob was choosing.
Yes.
He was like, we can't thank the ACC enough for this, because it makes their jobs easier too.
Mm-hmm. What impressed you most about watching UVA? They have good football players. You talk about getting evaluations right with the dollars they spent. They are good, aren't they? Offensively, they are really good.
Offensively, yes.
Yes.
What was most striking to me, Rick, is that's a defense in Florida State that held Alabama to 87 rushing yards.
Right.
And Virginia ran for 211. With an offensive line that, in theory, was going to be rebuilt through the portal, and they signed 7 transfer offensive linemen. 5 of them are unavailable due to injury. There's only 2 of them playing. But yet still, the O-line, coached by Terry Heffernan, is much improved and very effective. And to me, that's where Virginia won the game, was its ability to run the football consistently. You know, Chandler Morris is a dude. He's a gunslinger. He gets himself into trouble. And he's part of that rushing attack. He's part of what he had 3 rushing touchdowns. And he makes that run game go with his threat of pulling it in that read option.
Well, I think you talked about him wearing number 4. Yeah, he looks, it's the whole Brett Favre thing all over again.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you see enough to convince you that, okay, you win that. It was a huge test. Now you got to go play Louisville on the road. Mm-hmm. You think that can be sustainable? I feel like it can be for this group on Saturday.
I think win or lose Saturday, it's sustainable because the schedule's manageable. You know, look, they should beat Washington State at home. They should beat Wake Forest at home. And we'll talk about this later, but I think they should beat Virginia Tech at home. And that's, you know, it's crazy to think that Virginia should beat Virginia Tech because it happens so rarely. But they also have road games at Carolina. Come on, they can beat Carolina.
Right.
Now, the other 2 road games will be dicey. They got to go west to Berkeley. And the Bears have blown hot and cold of late. They get waxed by San Diego State, but then they come back and fly east and win at Boston College with a gutsy victory. And then Virginia has to go to Duke in late November or mid-November, excuse me. And that could have title implications.
Duke looked really good Saturday. I was impressed. They looked, I know Syracuse didn't have the quarterback, but it didn't have anything to do with that. Duke was a different team on Saturday. They were really good, I thought, against the Qs.
Very Mensa.
Yeah. All right. So then you kept it in the Commonwealth. Well, you know, not in the Commonwealth, but
no, I crossed state lines.
Crossed state lines. But what about Saturday night? A lot of people thought that was going to be possible, but yet Tech went in there and just beat NC State. Your thoughts on the Hokies and the job Philip Montgomery is doing?
I was more surprised by Virginia Tech's win than Virginia's.
Agreed.
And again, like the Cavaliers, the Hokies did it with the ground game. Now, Kyron Jones completed some crazy passes. You know, a couple, he's 15, 18 yards behind the line. And he's heaving it up there. I'm like, what in the world? And, you know, damn if Aiden Green and Benji Gosnell don't come down with the football. And but Terrion Stewart, you know, he breaks that 85-yard run, but it wasn't just that. He had earlier carry, you know, chunk play, 11 yards here, 12 yards there.
Yeah.
It was clear they were, number one, especially in the second half, determined to run the football. I thought they were a little too pass heavy in the first half. And then defensively, wow, you know, they at one point they had 5 true freshmen on the field. And they gave up 3 touchdown drives in the 70, 75-yard range. But when they needed to come up clutch, they really, really did. 5 sacks against a team that had only allowed 4 the entire season. You know, 5 sacks by 5 different guys.
Right, different players. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it was very impressive, and I think it's clear that for now, the players are all in and responding to Philip Montgomery.
So I'll ask you the same question. How sustainable do you think? Just, I know it's one game and that, and it may not, they could lose momentum Saturday. They should win against Wake. They're favored to do so at home, but do you foresee this continuing to build momentum? Their schedule obviously a little tougher down the road than Virginia's, to say the least.
Yeah, very, very much so. And you get Wake this week. Wake beat Georgia Tech on Saturday because the officials missed the offside call. If they drop the flag there, as they should have, and as the ACC admits they should have,
right,
then they're just kneeling it out. So Wake is not untalented now, nor is Virginia Tech. So, I think it's essentially a coin flip game, but it's in Blacksburg. They should win. So they're 3-3 going to Georgia Tech, which is idle this week. I don't like the Hokies' chances in Atlanta with Georgia Tech coming
No.
open date. Then Cal on a Friday night at home. I think so let's say you're 4-4 there, but then
that's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Then the schedule really ratchets up, and you close with Miami, Florida State, Virginia, and there's another one in there I'm missing. I'm trying to find the schedule. I'm missing somebody, but it gets a lot more.
Is it Louisville?
Yes, that's right. Louisville comes to Blacksburg.
They come to Blacksburg,
For the first time as ACC members.
Yeah, you're right. Daunting, to say the least.
Yeah, it is.
Not daunting. The good news, which we talked about, we're not surprised. The board yesterday, 13-1, I think it was. $229 million going to be sprawled out over the department. Most of it going to football. Good news, right? All the way around for Tech. They're going to jump up considerably now.
They are money-wise, but now comes the hard part.
Right.
Now you got to make it work.
Yes.
You got to invest it wisely. You have to create the most efficient management structure for the department and the program. And you got to go hire the right people. And that is an ongoing process. And it's a process we know darn little about. They have
Yes.
In stark contrast to some other schools who are out there looking for head football coaches that have been very transparent thus far about their process. Virginia Tech, not so much.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wanted to ask you, because Western was on Friday, and he said that he wasn't like you. He felt like Virginia was going to probably win that game. He said it'd be a great night for UVA and a pretty bad night for the ACC, just in terms of their national perspective. Do you agree with that now after it's all said and done? Because now all of a sudden Miami might be the only realistic postseason playoff squad, because I think they're going to beat Florida State this weekend.
I think Miami and Georgia Tech are still very much in that playoff conversation based on how they've played. Yes, Georgia Tech got lucky, but sometimes you need that. But Georgia Tech is good. And again, much like Virginia, has a very manageable schedule. And it's conceivable the Jackets could be 10-1, maybe 11-0 entering the Georgia game, which would be fascinating to watch. But yeah, if you're giving truth serum to folks in the ACC who are looking to push the play, and game day would have been in Tallahassee this week had Florida State won. But I think in their heart of hearts, they're also very happy for Tony Elliott and Virginia, given all that those folks have been through over the last few years.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can't help but have a feeling of just like, wow, it's so cool that they've gotten to this point.
Sure.
And how he managed them through that, who knows? But he did it. And now here they are on the other side. It's a good feeling. It's a good vibe to watch them have success.
Yeah, not only he, but Carla Williams, the athletic director.
Yeah, right? Everybody. Yeah.
The entire department and its response, the university not just the athletic.
Right. The whole, yes.
The university at large, and the response to the shooting and the continued embrace of the families affected is authentic and very touching.
An impossible situation that they somehow have. It's just incredible. I wanted to ask you, see if you agreed with me. I talked about this earlier. You watch more college football than than I do. Don't you feel like the quality of play is really good right now? I mean, we worry about the portal, we worry about the NIL, but I'm watching these games, and we had Saturday night, Georgia, Alabama. I mean, these are just two examples. Penn State, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like to me, David, that all the things we've been worried about college sports, and rightfully so, on the field, we're seeing the benefits of it with the way rosters are constructed. I think the quality of games are outstanding.
Oh, not only the quality, but the drama.
Yeah.
It is high drama, it seems, every week. And, that was one of those weekends where you expected it because the matchups were so good. But what's made this season cool is there have been some weekends where you think, the schedule's kind of
exactly.
But yet there's still compelling games that perhaps we didn't expect. So heaven knows what awaits us this weekend.
Yeah, you'll turn a game on. You're like, okay, I'll just put that on. Then you realize, wait a minute, I can't stop watching it. It's been nice. It's been a surprise to me, to be honest. But I like it. I hope it's a trend that can continue going forward. So we'll see. Where are you headed this weekend?
I am wandering off the grid a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to Air Force, Navy.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool. Where I work and live, I live about a mile from Langley Air Force Base, and I don't live far from Naval Base Norfolk. And those are two, incredibly valuable pieces of the fabric of this community. And with Air Force playing at Navy and Navy being undefeated, and Michael Kelly is the new athletic director there. He's a longtime friend and acquaintance from his time at the ACC and the college football playoff.
Yeah.
I'm going to go up there and chat with some folks. And
that's awesome.
See the game. It's national television, CBS, noon Saturday. And anytime two of the three service academies play, it's really good stuff.
Agreed. I try to watch whenever they're on. I feel the exact same way. Army Navy is one of my favorite games of the year. Just that whole everything that it means. And you're right, Air Force. That's going to be great, man. That's awesome. I can't wait to see the story that comes out of that. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, good. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, David, listen, man, we appreciate the time and love, obviously, everything that you do, and then everything that you do for Tech Sideline. That's a lot of fun, you guys in there hashing out stuff as well. So that's good. It's good.
We're going to do some hashing later this morning, right?
Yes, you are. Lots of good hashing at Tech Sideline with David Teel and the crew. Well, have fun this weekend, man. I know you will. I can't wait to hear those stories next week. That'll be awesome. That's awesome.
Sounds good, Rick. Thanks, man.
All right, brother. Take care, man. Good stuff. David Teel, the best. That's great. Going to be at Air Force and Navy. Awesome. Good info from David Teel. Bill Roth will join us at 8:15, by the way. Joining us right now is this gentleman. Look at that guy. He's an undefeated head football coach. What's going on? Brian Steinbring back with us, the head football coach at Roanoke College. Steiny, congratulations, brother. Man, you guys are getting it done here early in the year.
Well, so far so good, Rick. We couldn't be in a better spot than what we are, right? So we're real excited about that and thankful for that. Our kids have played well. I thought this past Saturday we got closer to being a good football team. I think we were inconsistent in our first two games. We played well for the most part, but there were moments were not so good, and I think we took the off week and were able to advance our football team, and now we're staring down probably Well, no, not probably. It's the best team that we faced by a long shot. They won 27 straight ODAC football games, 3-time defending champion. So there's a tremendous challenge in front of us. But like with any challenge, there's great opportunity. So that's how we're approaching it. It's a great opportunity. I think we can gauge where we are. I like where we are. Where we started, where we are now is absolutely amazing. But this will be a tremendous challenge this Saturday.
Coach, I wanted to ask you, you had a very interesting, like your bye week came early, right? You played that game against Greensboro, then you had the week off. Did you like that? You mentioned you felt like your team got closer. Sounds like you got a lot of good work in with the extra time.
Rick, it's a great question. Typically, I'd say it's too early in the season to be having an open date. You like to get into a flow, into a rhythm with your team. But when I sit back and look at this, I think it was well timed for us. I think we had a chance to sit back, and what's still unique, Rick, is we're still a first-year program.
That's right.
So this team, when I say this team, 50% of them and 50% of them have only been together since August the 13th. So it's not like you added another 15 guys or another 20 guys. You added 50% more to your team. So I think we did as a staff. We sat back on that Sunday after our game, and I kind of came in with an idea of what this off week should look like. And I can tell you our players didn't feel like it was an off week. I think we got a lot done. We worked diligently on addressing some of our penalties. That occurred on Sunday. We had a little reminder session that penalties are not a good thing.
Right.
I thought Tuesday we had more contact than we typically do on a practice. We worked diligently on our tackles, breaking tackles, protecting the ball, taking the ball away. A lot of good teamwork, a lot of competitive drills we worked. Good on good. O-line, D-line on boards. Just knock who's gonna get the knockback and those type things. Just kind of sharpening the iron a little bit. And then I think on Wednesday we had a county fair, about 5 circuits of kind of testing their moment that they think about, okay, I'm good. I've gone as far as I can, and kind of push them to go a little further. And that was our team bonding. I know there's a lot of descriptive analysis of what team bonding going to look like, but when you got guys pushing others to get through something, and I think that's when you really find yourself a team. We went back and did a version of our Tuesday practice on Thursday and Friday. We denoted a lot to special teams and special situations, and I think I'm a big believer. At the end of the day, you get what you earn, and I think we got it this past Saturday. I think it showed up a little bit on what we tried to do in the off week, and that was good for our football team.
Brian Steinbring joining us, the head football coach at Roanoke College. First year, 3-0 for this team. As he mentioned, though, a huge challenge in what's coming up in Salem, by the way, which is great news against Randolph College. It's going to be a big crowd there to support your team, Coach. And let's talk about the challenge and how you're going to approach this with your team, or how you already have with your team. I know it's the next game. You can't make a game bigger than it is, but you mentioned their unbelievable streak and the things that they've done. So how do you do that as a coaching staff adjust? Do you just still treat it as the next game? Because it is the next game, but do you have to amp it up a little bit? Because they already know exactly this team, what they've accomplished.
They are well aware of Randolph-Macon. I probably addressed some things in preseason about our conference to our team. Sunday, I think for me, we have to do a good job of navigating a young group through situations, more so than you have to do other teams. But I think it doesn't really matter. It's our job to kind of navigate them through it. Saturday after the game, I kind of started the process. Congratulated them on a win. I thought we played good team football. And then I said, you got 24 hours. Enjoy this. We're on to the next one. We're getting ready to play a really good team. And then I quickly said, we're a good team too. Don't forget that. So
Right.
you got to let them know we're playing a good team, but understand we're a good team too. And then and I kind of followed it up in our meeting on Sunday that as we move forward, what you said at the beginning, I'm very guarded. You can't allow the moment to become too big. And there's that line, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I go home at night. When I finally get home, you can see I haven't shaved in a couple of days. It's one of those deals, and so it's a fine line that you have to walk with them. But on Sunday, I addressed with them. It's a fine line that don't make the moment big. It is the next one up. And then yesterday, I kind of started the process about what we need to focus on is details. Don't think about winning on Saturday. This focus on the details is going to enable us to have success because it's going to be the details. And that was actually Monday. Yesterday, they started to hear the at the end of the day, we have to, as a young team, we have to be prepared for the flow of the game. That when you play a good team, there's going to be moments for both teams. I referenced Penn State and Oregon. What a great football game, right?
Yeah, it was a great game. Yeah.
Two really good football teams. And guess what? Today, there's still two really good football teams.
That's right.
But during the course of that game, Penn State had moments, Oregon had moments, Penn State, how we handle those moments for this team is critical to me. And my staff has heard the same thing, how we handle those moments. Now, last year, I know it was a JV club or whatever, but we had a lot of moments, so they understand that. But this is going to be those moments on steroids a little bit too. So
That's right. That's right.
So you have to prepare them, and I feel I feel the responsibility to as a coach to address these things as we move through the week, and then so by the time we get on the practice field tomorrow, to this afternoon again, that we're focusing on the process, we're focusing on the details, and because at the end of the day, and then increasing, I give them a link. We did it at Tech back in the day, and each link represents them as individuals, and that when they combine together, they're an unbreakable chain. And the only thing I told them, I said, just listen to me. We go home tonight, grab your link, and say, "I will not break." We wake up tomorrow morning for 5 seconds, just grab your link and say, "I will not break."
Yeah.
And that's in terms of the game Saturday mentally. That I think that's where we have to be at our best. It's the X's and O's and all those things. I understand that part of the game. We all do, but it's our mental makeup when it's game time. We cannot. It's the fine line that that you got to stay in the moment. Don't make it too big, and then realize that there's going to be moments that you're going to be challenged, and how we respond to that is going to be critical part of anything else in the game, in my opinion.
Well, it's interesting, Coach, to hear you describe that because of all your many gifts as a football coach and as a person. Dwight Vick's on this show every week, and he still talks about how important you are in his life. But he would have games where he'd get his butt whooped in practice, or he'd go back and he would lose a couple of series, and you would always remind him, that's just that moment. There's still going to be more moments. And he said that encouraged him to kind of reach his potential instead of just always getting down and out when one bad thing would happen or one bad series, or if he ended up on his tail, and got allowed a sack, that you reminded him that's just that moment. It doesn't mean it has to be the next moment.
Exactly, because if you're not careful, that moment will create the next moment. That moment will continue on. And it's just like life. It's what I tell my players. I'm sure I'll tell Dwight. I mean,
yeah,
life is a wonderful journey. And but there's some bumps, and some big bumps. And I don't care who you are, whatever you're doing, whatever level of success you feel that you have, there's been bumps along the way. And I tell my players, if the path you've chosen, there's a lot of bumps, you're probably on the right path. And because it's easy to stay nice and comfortable. We can all get into a comfort zone. This game forces you to have the ability to get out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely. Finally, Coach, what are some of the big keys you're looking for? We talked about the emotional part of it. What were some of the keys specifically now to slow those guys down, to get you guys off to a good start on the field on Saturday?
Well, we got to get off to a good start. You said that already, but you kind of said we got to slow them down. I have a lot of respect for the way they play the game. They don't beat themselves. It's kind of I was kind of to the staff the other day. It's very symbolic, or there's a lot of reflection back to the way things took place at Virginia Tech for a long period of time. Is they run the ball exceptionally well. They have good schemes. Well, nobody draws up a scheme that doesn't look good.
Right? Yeah.
Nobody allows to say we're going to run this play. Doesn't look very good, but we're going to run it anyway, right? I don't think we perform it very well. It doesn't match up well, whatever it is. But they have good schemes. I think they go into games and they recognize, and as the game goes on, they figure out quickly which ones are having the most success and lean on it. I've told you this many times. The thing that's not talked about in the run game is the mentality in which you run it. And I like they have a really good mentality about we are going to run the ball, and their players buy into it. Then they spread the ball around well. They play action off of it. They'll take their shots down the field. So we got to be able to slow down the run game. And I'll be out to sit here and say you're going to stop it. Okay, all right, that's what we're going to do. But I think there's got to be a goal that is attainable, and we just got to keep making them snap the ball. I mean, they had a 10-minute drive against W&L last week.
Nothing more demoralizing. Yeah.
Impressive. I mean, so then we got to be able to take that moment and get them off the field. That'll be a key. Third down will be a key if we can get them off the field. Offensively, we got to be able to control the ball ourselves. I mean, if we're out there and we're 3 and out, that's not going to bode well for either side of the ball. It's not going to bode well for our team. So it's kind of like when back playing Georgia Tech, and they're not Georgia Tech, they're not triple option and all that, but if they're going to get their first downs, it's with Paul Johnson, they will get first downs. And then Bud was going to have something that just got them off track and got them behind the chains, and then they're gonna have to punt the ball. And then, but offensively, whatever pressure Bud had to get them stopped, we got to do our part. I mean, we cannot 3 and out. I mean, I remember saying, I looked up one time in the first quarter, we kicked out to them. We got the ball with like 8 minutes. They didn't score, but you're sitting there as an offense going, oh gosh, it's, we got to go, right? So stay calm. We got to be like, I told our coaches, be like a duck on the water, look calm and tranquil, but underneath, I know we're all paddling our feet.
All paddling hard.
Right. A lot of activity under the water, but I think that's key. Really, we got to be able to stop the run and don't give up the big play in the throw game, because if you got to commit people to the run game, it opens up more seams. We all know that. I think that's what we tried to do at Virginia Tech. It opened up our throw game a lot, and so we got to be able to get them off the field, and we got to be able to control the ball and move the ball ourselves. This will be field position in games like this critical. If we're driving it, if they're getting the ball at the 35, 40-yard line, okay. If we're getting the ball at the 10 and 20, I think field position in this game
Sure.
We had an analytics discussion on Sunday about fourth downs and all that. And I said, this game will kind of make you kind of think old school, which is a good school, okay, which is a good school. Still, that maybe field position does. We got to be able to not create opportunities for them to have shorter fields.
Well, Coach, we'll be pulling like heck for you, man. Let's hope we're talking about 4-0 after that. But good luck this weekend. I know you'll have them ready to go, man. I know you have a big crowd there supporting you too. So
we need that crowd there. I promise you. So we're kind of counting on it, and we're excited about it. We got some work to do here. Getting ready to get right back to it. So appreciate you, Rick, a great deal, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right, Coach. Take care, man. Good luck the rest of the week, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
All right, brother. Take care. There you go. Brian Steinbring, head football coach at Roanoke College, for joining us. Great stuff from Coach. We appreciate him. And as we roll along here in hour number 3, we always appreciate and enjoy our conversation with the voice for Virginia Tech football, Bill Roth. How are you, Bill? Good morning, man.
I'm well. Good morning to you, and good morning to everyone watching and listening. You know what today is? It's Virginia Tech's birthday. Did you know that?
No, I did not. October 1st, really?
October 1st, 1872. Addison Caldwell became the first Tech student.
Yeah.
He walked 26 miles from Giles County to Blacksburg.
Really? Look at you. Oh, that's great.
Now, the joke, of course, is why did he walk from Giles County? Well, there was still, even back then, there was no parking on campus, so he had to walk. No.
He knew he couldn't park a car. Yeah.
He didn't have his student permit. He only got a ticket.
That's great.
So happy birthday to Virginia Tech, October 1st.
Well, and happy times now recently, like 2 wins, stacking wins back to back, and just your thoughts about everything that went on Saturday night. I mean, it was a game Virginia Tech won. They beat NC State at their own game, and the way they stopped the running game, that was terrific. But what impressed you the most going back and thinking about that game on Saturday?
I think, well, even going back to the week, just the incredible job that Phil Montgomery and that coaching staff did to keep the team together, because there's been a lot of legislation and litigation and noise from attorneys and agents trying to get kids to opt out and transfer. And so while he's getting his team ready to play the game, he's meeting with players trying to keep them on the roster, and some opted out. And then that team, to win the game when so many of those guys, so many of their teammates left, that says something about who's on the bus is important. And yeah, we had 6 true freshmen playing on that defense, but they wanted to be there. Yes. And it's not always all about the money. And there is something, Coach Whit Babcock actually says there's still some secret sauce in college athletics. And Mike Burnop and I were talking on the podcast yesterday. Regardless of how this season goes, and who knows what will happen. But for those kids in the locker room, that's what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember the money. They're not going to remember their rev share check or their NIL check. They're going to remember that incredible feeling that they had. And you cannot duplicate that feeling in your bank account, no matter how much you make, right? Money comes and goes. But it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity when you go on the road. We had a good crowd of Hokies there. It wasn't like it used to be, but there were probably 6,000 or 7,000 Hokies there. It used to be we'd take up half the stadiums when we go.
That's right. That's right.
But they were loud, and our team, the 60,000 people there, and they were the true Saturday night road game at Carter Finley Stadium's tough. It's almost like Lane at night. So to win that on the road is a lot. But that's the second game in a row they stopped the run. The first was Wofford. You'll recall they held them to -1.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go down there and they held NC State to 59 yards rushing. Now, that does include yardage lost in sacks, but, Hollywood is really good.
Yes.
Hollywood Smothers is he's the ACC's rushing leader. And, man, the first 3 plays of the game, all tackles for loss for Tech's defense.
Mm-hmm.
And so that set the tone. Drones was incredibly efficient. And then, of course, Terrence Stewart had his coming out party down there. And, he was a first-team All-Mid-American Conference tailback a year ago. Calling him a tailback's probably not.
I know, right?
First-team All-Conference bowling ball.
Tank.
Yeah, whatever. But he got hurt, and he was hurt for most of the preseason camp, and he hadn't been healthy. I mean, I vividly remember the week of the South Carolina game, he's in a boot. Well, you know how those, and I'm not sure exactly what the injury is. You know how that is. Ankle sprain, high ankle sprain. They can linger, and there's not a whole lot of rehab you can do. So eventually it's just time. And it took him two or 3 weeks to get back onto the field at full speed. And we saw what we had hoped we'd see out of Stewart last week in Raleigh.
You know, they try to make it 3 in a row Saturday against Wake Forest, who played Georgia Tech off their feet and, actually should have won the game, as what David was just talking about with that, how they missed the offside call, who knows? But nonetheless, another test for Tech. Should be. Have they announced the sellout yet? By the way, people have been asking me. I haven't seen that.
They have not announced it. I haven't looked or asked our ticket people yet. But I was really amazed at the attendance for the Wofford game. The Hokies are 0-3. Wofford is a 0-3 FCS team, and it's packed. So imagine it's not going to take much to get that sellout streak going again.
No.
Our fans are really, really amazing. But yeah, you're right. The officials missed an offside call. The Wake QB thought he had a free play and threw it. I mean, they're basically ready to take a knee to win the game. But, it's interesting. I watched Coach Dickert's press. He's the Wake Forest. He's their new coach from Washington State. And they're gonna actually change their protocol. That's what he was coached to do. But they're going to change that. The danger of, and it's true in the NFL too, right? The danger of, we have a free play is, what if the official misses it?
Mm-hmm.
And what if that free play is on 3rd down? Do you automatically take the deep shot? Especially late 4th quarter, they hand the ball off, they gain 1 yard. You don't need a touchdown at that point. You need 1 yard, you kneel and shake hands with the other coach. So it's an interesting coach's dilemma, right? You just assume the official is going to make the call, but you didn't need a big pass play at that point. So he mentioned that. He also thought that it might be an interesting idea if there was another way for officials to signal that the guy was offside earlier. But I don't know that there is a way. That would be a question for an official.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it can be a judgment, right? Because the Georgia Tech kid is trying to get back. So just because your center and QB think it's offside, is it really? And in that instance, Wake Forest didn't need any more points. So why even take the deep shot?
Yeah.
He'd have been better off taking the snap, running ahead for a yard, get the first down. It's an interesting coaching. You just had Steiny on. It'd be interesting.
Yeah,
but that's what you're coached to do, right? If you're the center and you see someone jump across into the neutral zone, you're coached to snap it.
Yeah. Quarterbacks made their living off it. Aaron Rodgers being one of the guys, right? Was Green Bay. That's what he did all the time. So great news. We've been talking about it. Not a surprise, but the money approved, and this is going to put Tech in a different neighborhood going forward, right? Good stuff.
It was a very, very interesting Board of Visitors meeting. In academics, institutional goals, and athletics all meet at the same time. It's very, very different, right? Because you've got all different perspectives, and everyone who is on that BOV loves Virginia Tech. Everyone has a lot of experience in making tough decisions, and they understand that just because someone has a different opinion doesn't mean he or she is right or wrong. And some people thought that, our student fees are high enough, despite the fact that we have the lowest student fees of any school. Some people don't think college students should pay at all for athletics out of their fees when the athletes are making 6 figures or more. So you have to respectfully let those people talk. But at the end of the day, the vote was nearly unanimous, and it's something that Tech institutionally had to do, all things considered, with the way collegiate athletics is about to change in the next 4 years or less. And the Hokies need to get their football house in order, and more than in order. We need to be good, and this will help us get there. Now, that doesn't mean that Florida State and Clemson won't raise their budgets too.
That's right.
Okay, so Just because the Hokies are up to roughly 200 or 210 million annually, that doesn't mean that Florida State can't do the same thing. But in a way, FSU already is. And so the biggest thing to understand about this is that state laws are different. And everyone says, well, it needs to be a level playing field. Well, that's essentially impossible because the laws in Florida are different than the laws in Virginia.
No, that's right.
And the laws in South Carolina are different. And it's that way, right? So Virginia laws are incredibly, incredibly conservative in that regard. No state funds used for athletic facilities. Student fees must be regulated. And for Virginia Tech specifically, as the land-grant school, student fees that go to athletics must be very, very low. And as Witt pointed out in his presentation, Virginia Tech has way more students than UVA. The enrollment at Tech is bigger. But UVA gets $37 million more a year in student fees than Tech because its fees are higher. Well, fans don't want to hear that.
Right.
So what, UVA students are paying $37 million more every 12 months to their athletics program than Tech students? Yes. But that's a state legislature thing. And
right.
It's nothing that Witt can do. That's a Richmond issue. And it's certainly not anything fans want to hear because that law doesn't apply in South Carolina to Clemson. Yet fans don't want to hear you can't compete with Clemson.
That's right.
Or you can't compete with UVA. Why does UVA have way more money? Well, one is a land grant school in Blacksburg and the other's not. So there's a lot of perspective on it, and that's the law. And Virginia has been really conservative legislatively. How about all these big words we're using today, right?
Get ready for Saturday, that's all.
Yeah, does Virginia Tech have a totally different set of rules than James Madison? Yeah, not even close. It's not the same rule book.
It's interesting, yeah. That's a dynamic. You're right. You're going to give people a lot to think about, as they go throughout their day listening to that, because that's true. It's state by state, and Tech's got some challenges that other schools don't have. Yeah, even with the high enrollment numbers, that's true. Very, very true.
Yeah, I mean, and again, right, Radford is different than Radford student fees are higher than Tech per kid, and that's saying it's a negative. It's just institutionally the mission, and I mean liberties are higher than everybody's.
Yes, they are. Yes,
right,
they are.
And everyone can see that, but that puts whoever is your CFO at your university or athletics or your athletics director, man, when you do your budget, your peer down at Clemson or your peer in Tallahassee has a much bigger line item there on student fees than Tech does. But anyway, the university has answered the bell, and it answered the bell in less than 6 weeks after Witt made his pitch, and we'll have a really, really good chance to invest and make sure that our resources, which means money, that's the new code word in higher education, resources.
Resources.
We'll have more resources, which means more money to hire staff. I never looked at it that way. When I look at my Wells Fargo account, I don't go, how are my resources?
What are my resources doing here?
Resources means cash. And,
that's right. That's right.
That's one of those higher education lingo words. Why don't they like using the word money?
Right, because that's what it's all about. Yeah, they want to hide it. Hey, finally, I want to ask you, what has impressed you the most about Phil Montgomery? I mean, he just comes across as a guy that his positivity is obviously rubbing off with the team. The comments yesterday about the players, you can just see how much they want to run through a wall for him. What impressed you the most about the time you've gotten to know him since he's been in Blacksburg?
Well, you can tell he's been a head coach for a long time. He's won a lot, lost a lot, been through things, everything that happens. Although with this NIL, maybe not everything he's seen before.
True.
But, he's not doing everything for the first time. And I think that jumps out. He's very poised. There was a play in the game. We ran a really good play on a third down play on our last possession to run out the clock. It was third down, and Kyron rolled right, 3rd down and 6. We rolled right to the boundary side of the field in front of our bench, and Jarikas got open, and Kyron made a great throw. We moved the sticks. We got a first down right in front of the coach. And Philip, he was standing there with his – I'll pull out my tablet here. He just as a prop, he was standing there with his pad and Hairston catches the pass, and he gets the first down, and he's just looking at his pad thinking, totally stoic. Just standing there watching, and no, he wasn't flipping out, wasn't jumping up and down, although he did several plays later. He's very smart and experienced, and he's thinking a play or two ahead, and he has to because he's doing two jobs. He's the OC, and he's the head coach. So you're thinking offense, defense, clock, time management, timeouts, what's the deal? And he had to make a big decision a little bit later on that possession when it was fourth down. Do the Hokies go for it and win the game or punt? But I think he was already thinking ahead, and that's what an experienced head coach will do. Or an experienced businessman is always thinking two or three plays ahead. So, how about you? Everything good in your world?
Yeah, man, we're motoring along here. It was good to see Rothstein in town talking about Tech and Radford yesterday. About hoop season for us is our football season, so we're getting close. But yeah, man, not bad. Show doing great, and I'm glad we got you back. I know you've been so busy. There's so much going on. You've been busier this year, I think, than any time since I've known you. It's just been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a eventful few weeks, all things considered, and there's been a lot to consider. So,
true.
We've had a lot going on, but you know what? I think Saturday is going to be great. Homecoming at Lane Stadium is really great and
special. Yeah.
We bring back generations, fathers and sons, and mothers and daughters, and classmates and teammates all return, and the weather is going to be good. I think there's going to be great energy inside the stadium at 1:00. And I'm looking forward to it. And, man, if you're 0-3 and fire your coach and then win the next 3, that says something about the character of the guys.
Absolutely.
In your locker room, on your team, the staff, everyone who's involved. And I really think the right guys are on the bus right now. I don't know that we've got the total talent level that you would, they're not good. I don't think that you could expect them to win 10 in a row, anything like that. Just realistically, it'd be great though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, be story of the year. I mean, come on, it'd be a few stories in college football could surpass that.
It would be, but regardless, if man, when you hit rock bottom, which is when you're 18-22 and you're 0-3 and your coach is fired and you're questioning yourself and teammates are quitting and your guy that was in the locker next to you quits, and you go back and crank out a winning streak, that is.
I know.
That's hard to do. But Wake Forest is coming off. We remember last year, the Hokies played at Miami, and they had a game that they thought they had won. Remember on the Hail Mary play at the end of the game at Hard Rock Stadium? We thought for sure Tech had won the game, and the officials overturned the call. That's how Wake feels today.
That's right. That's right.
They feel like they won a game over a ranked team and then had it ripped away from them. And I know, or at least I think I know, how Wake's kids will react. Just like our kids, right? You're gonna come out fighting like we beat Georgia Tech. We beat Georgia Tech last week, a ranked team. And but regardless, I know the Hokies will be well prepared, and they've got a lot of confidence. And it'll be great to be back home. Whenever you win a big road game, it's always cool to come back home and get that warm, amazing ovation. And the fact that it's homecoming. Oh, it's also the orange effect. So if you're coming to the game, wear that orange shirt or hoodie or pullover, or T-shirt or necktie, whatever.
Whatever it might be.
Wherever you are.
You'll have on the orange tie. I know you
will. I will. Yeah.
Hey, one more real quick. Wade says, Bill, love the video clip of your call at the end of the game with the arm swing, like Tiger or whatever. Yeah.
So they put a camera on us for the whole game.
Yeah.
So like even during commercials and you taking a swallow of water, but so each week our video. By the way, Jordan Long put together an amazing, not that clip, but our video department, our creative video people are amazing. And Jordan put together an unbelievable recap of the game. They had 2 cameras in the locker room, 2 on the sidelines. On Saturday, everybody was mic'd up, and they put together, it's about a 5 or 6, maybe even longer than that feature. But thanks for watching, and we're glad to show people a little bit of behind the scenes.
It's awesome. Well, thanks as always, my friend. Great to talk with you, and have a great call. I know you will on Saturday, and good luck getting 3 in a row.
Happy birthday, Virginia Tech. 153. That's a lot of candles.
That is. That's a life extension.
Is that right? 1872. Yeah, 153.
I'll take your word. I'm terrible at math, but yeah, I think you're right.
See you, buddy.
All right, man. Take care. We'll see you next time. There you go. Go Roth. Great stuff from the voice of Virginia Tech football, and that's going to wrap it up for us here today. One more time, I want to thank all of our great sponsors. Our studio sponsor, Family Fencing, 540-200-8294 at familyfencingnrv.com. Thanks to Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic Chatline. Terrific. Thanks to Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated. They're our text line sponsor, 540-391-0788. Garage Doors, Residential Commercial, Route 100, Dublin, right across from New River Community College. He's getting a lot of traction on his text line. National Bank, member FDIC. Thank you so much, Larry Ramsey, exclusive banking partner of BDST. Obviously, Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. I believe Jonathan Sweet is going to join us tomorrow. I'll let you know. If not, we'll tell you about more of the cool stuff that they're doing. Charles Lee, Little River Heating and Air. Go see them. Get your house ready for winter the right way with Little River Heating and Air. And the attorney, Ryan Pryor, BDST fan question of the week. Yes or no, do you really believe that Virginia Tech should start seriously considering taking the interim tag off of Philip Montgomery's name? Thank you as always. No doubt. Yeah, flexibility. We can just keep a show going when you have great guests. Boy, how about this show today? It's all the guests, not me, but how about that? Kion Brown, Damien, David Teel, Coach Steiny, Bill Roth. Please like and subscribe. Share. Let's do it. Remember, it's free. Let's get that subscription number up. Enjoy the rest of your hump day. Always remember Tommy the camel. Keep calm. It's hump day. We're getting over the hump. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow on the Thursday edition. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.